Hi there and welcome to another video from Hegarty Maths. It's Mr. Hegarty here and these are the quick GCSE revision videos. In this video we're talking about the volume of a prism. Now just to remind you, these videos are for short, sharp, focused of key topics, mainly at grade B and grade C. If you want further details and more detailed explanations, do check out hegartymaths.com. So in this video we're talking about the volume of a prism. And if you want to make a revision card of this, this would summarize what this is about. Now, the volume of a prism, this formula is given in the formula booklet in the exam, so you don't have to remember it. And what it says is, if you want to work out the volume of a prism, and what a prism is a shape that has the same cross section all along its length. So if I cut it here, I would see the same cross section. So for example, a cuboid is one, a triangular prism is one, a cylinder can be one, or this sort of L-shaped prism could be one. So if you want to work out the volume of it, you work out the area of the face and you multiply it by the length. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to apply that in these four cases that tend to come up in the exam. Right, so let's work out the volume of this shape first of all. Now the face, the easiest face maybe to do is the front face. So we could work out the area of that front face and multiply it by the depth, which is 20. So firstly, maybe work out the area of the flat face, which I might call A. The area of this would obviously be the width, because it's a rectangle, it would be the width times the height. So it would be 15 multiplied by 9. And that would be equal to 135 centimeters squared. So therefore the volume of this shape, the volume would be that 135 multiplied by 20. So it would be 135 multiplied by 20. Okay, and that would turn out to be 2,700, and the unit of volume would be centimeters cubed in that case. So our answer would be 2,700 centimeters cubed. Okay, let's do the same for the triangular prism down here. Now this triangular prism is basically half of a cuboidal prism. And let's work out the area of the face. So this would be maybe our face here, that triangle. So what we do is we might call it A and we work out its area. Now you should know the area of a triangle where you know the perpendicular height. It's base multiplied by perpendicular height divided by 2. So you would do 4 multiplied by 3 and that answer divided by 2, and that would give you that the area in this case is 6 centimeters squared. So to get the volume, step 2, you would take that area and you would multiply it by 11. So you would do 6 multiplied by the length backwards and you would get the volume is 66, and the unit, not centimeters squared, but centimeters cubed in that case. Okay, and we're done with regards to that. Okay, now let's go to slightly more complicated shapes. Now, if we want to work out the volume of this, what we need to do is we need to work out the area of the face. Now this is an L shape, and the easiest thing to do would be to break this into two rectangles. So there are different ways you can do it, but let's suppose we broke it down like that. Let's work out the area of this large rectangle, call it A, and work out the area of this small little rectangle, call it B. Now the area of the large rectangle A, well that's base times height. Now the base is 4, because that's 4. This base here would also be 4, so it would be 4 multiplied by 7. So the area there would be 4 multiplied by 7, which is equal to 28 centimeters squared. Now let's work out the area of B now, being very careful what the base and the height is. Well, the height we've got is 3, we know that. Now the key is, what's the base? It's this distance here. Okay, it's that distance, which is going to be 12 subtract the 4. Because this was 4, the whole lot is 12, so it's 12 subtract the 4, which is actually 8. So what we do for the area of B, we would say that's 8 multiplied by 3, which is equal to 24 centimeters squared. So the area of the whole of the face, because we want the area of the whole of the face, which is all of this thing here, we would add those two answers together, and we would therefore say that the area would be these two things added together, which would be 52 centimeters squared. So if we want the volume therefore is going to be that 52 multiplied by the depth back, which is 10. So it's going to be 520. And the unit's not centimetres, it's not centimetres squared, it's centimetres cubed. And the last one, we've got a cylinder here. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to work out the area of the circle at the front and multiply it by 15 to get the volume. So we'll call this the circle A. To get the area A, the area of a circle is pi r squared. Remember that formula from, you need to learn that. So it's pi multiplied by r squared, which is going to be pi multiplied by 4 squared, which our calculator says is 16 pi. We could decimalize it, but we could just leave it like that and we'll round at the end. And so the volume is going to be this answer, 16 pi multiplied by the 15. Okay, if we type that in our calculator, 16 pi multiplied by 15, we get 240 pi, or 753.98. So 753.98. It depends what you're asked to round it to, but let's just leave it like that for now, centimetres cubed. Okay, great. Well, that's the volume of the key shapes that come up. One last thing I want to point out that you can write on your revision card. Okay, so I'm going to move that over there. Sometimes they ask you to work out either the mass of a shape, the density, or the density of a shape. So if you can work out the volume, you might be able to work out the density or the mass out. Now, what we can remember this in a triangle, and what we've got is density is mass divided by volume. So if you could remember that triangle, that's telling you if you want to work out density, it's mass divided by volume. So density is mass divided by volume. If you want to work out mass, it's going to be density multiplied by volume. So mass is going to be density multiplied by volume. Okay, now let's say maybe in this case here, this question 1, say in question 1, they told us, let's say, that the density of this shape, say if they told us in the question the density was, I don't know, the density was, I don't know, 20 grams per centimetre cubed or something like that. Okay, if they told us that, then we could work out the mass. Okay, it might ask us for the mass in the question, and so we'd remember this triangle, and we said the mass is density times volume. So mass would be density times volume. Mass would be the 20 multiplied by the volume we've worked out, 2,700, and we tap that in the calculator, and we say 20 multiplied by 2,700, which is 54,000. Okay, so 54,000 grams, which is 54 kilograms, something like that. So that's how we could use this here. Alternatively, let's call this one question 2, let's say. That was question 2. Say they told us in this question, imagine they told us that the mass here was, I don't know, 500 grams, and they asked us to work out the density. We could look at this, we could say that density is mass divided by volume, so density is mass divided by volume, which would be 500, divided by the volume, which is 520, and we'd get our calculator out, and we go 500 divided by 520, and we'd say that's equal to that 0.96, etc. So 0.96, and it would be grams per centimetre cube. Okay, so that's just one thing to bear in mind. I'll show you the exam questions that have come up on this topic. You pause the video at each one, try those questions, and then I will reveal the answer, go through the answer in 10 seconds. Okay, so there's going to be quite a few of these questions that have come up. Here's the first one. Okay, there was 4 marks for this here, and it said the diagram shows a cuboid, the volume is 51 centimeters cubed, show the following is true. Well, we know that the volume's 51. We could also work it out in terms of x. We could work out the area of the face, couldn't we? And we could multiply it by x subtract 2. So we could say that the volume would be x multiplied by 2, which we write as 2x, and multiplied by x subtract 2, like that. So if we expand this, we would have 2x squared subtract 4x, 2x multiplied by x is 2x squared, 2x multiplied by negative 4 would be negative 4x. So that's the volume in terms of x. So we know that 2x squared subtract 4x must equal, we're told, 51. And if we subtract the 51 off both sides, bring the 51 to the left, we would have that 2x squared subtract 4x subtract 51 is equal to 0, and we'd be done in that regard. So that's the first question done. Take a look at the next one, pause the video, try it, I'll go through. Okay, this one says that we have a cuboid here, and it says the cuboid has a square base of side x, the height is x plus 4, the volume is this, show that the following. Well, what we could do in this case, we could choose our face to be the bottom, because that would be easier, and we know that the area of the bottom would be the base times the height, which would be x squared, so the area would be x squared, so the volume of this shape would be that, multiplied by the height, which is x plus 4. So x squared multiplied by x plus 4, when you multiply that out, you would get yourself x cubed plus 4x. Now that's the volume in terms of algebra. We were also given a fact in the question that we were told it's equal to 150 centimeters cubed. So we could therefore say that x cubed plus 4x is equal to 150. And we'd get our easy 2 marks. Okay, next one. Pause the video, have a go. I'll go through in 10 seconds. Okay, this one says we've got a cube and a cuboid. It says all the measurements are in centimeters. The volume of the cube is 100 centimeters cubed more than the volume of the cuboid. Show that the following is true for 2 marks. With the volume of this, let's call this shape A, that shape A, and that shape B. The volume of shape A, would clearly be x squared, which is the face, multiplied by x, which is clearly x cubed. And the volume of B, well, it would be this face here, which is 5 multiplied by 2, which is 10 multiplied by x, so that's going to be 10x. And we know that the volume of the cube is 100 centimeters more than the volume of the cuboid. So if we take them away from each other, the volume of the cube, take away the volume of the cuboid, we must get 100. So therefore x cubed subtract 10x must equal 100. And we'd have got our 2 marks. Okay, next one. Pause the video, have a go. Okay, going through this one, the volume of the triangular prism. Firstly, work out the area of the triangle, call it shape A, and then multiply it by 20. So we would do the area of the triangle at the front, which is base times height, 3 multiplied by 4 divided by 2, which is going to equal 6 centimeters squared. So the volume clearly is then 6 multiplied by 20. So 6 multiplied by 20, which is 120 centimeters cubed. Do notice there's no units here, so remember to put in your units, 120 centimeters cubed. That's probably the 4 easiest marks you're going to get on a higher paper. Okay, so make sure you get those ones right. Okay, the next one. Work out the volume of that prism. So what we want to do is we want to work out the area of the front, the area of the face, and we're going to multiply that by 10. So we're going to have to break this shape up into 2 rectangles. So a good way to break it up, why not break it up there? Maybe call that A and call that B for ease of labelling. So if we want to work out the area of A, firstly, we would do the base, which is clearly 4, because that's 4, and we multiply it by 7. So it's 4 multiplied by 7, which is going to equal 28 centimeters squared. What about B? If we want to work out the area of this, well, it's the base multiplied by 2. Now, if the whole lot's 9 and this bit's 4, so this bit here is 4, this bit clearly must be 5. So we do 5 multiplied by 2. So for the area of B, it's going to be 5 multiplied by 2, which is 10 centimeters squared. So the total area, well, you'd add the area of this to this, so you would do 28 add 10, which is equal to 38 centimeters squared. Okay, And then to work out the volume, you'd multiply it by the depth back, which is 10. So the volume is going to be 38 multiplied by the 10, which is clearly going to be 380 centimeters cubed. Okay, 380 centimeters cubed. And you're done. Next one, very similar, have a go at that. Okay, so what we do is we're going to work out the area of the front of the prism, the face of this prism, and then we're going to multiply it by 20, right? So let's break this up into two rectangles. Why don't we just break it there? There's no harm in that. Call that A, call that B. So with A, we want to work out the area of A. So we're going to do this base here, which is clearly 5, because that's 5, multiplied by 7. So 5 multiplied by 7, which is 35 centimeters squared. Okay, the area of B, we want the base multiplied by the height. If this is 5, this here must be 6, because it must add up to 11 in total. So we do 6 multiplied by 4. So for B, the area of B we have 6 multiplied by 4, which is equal to 24 centimeters squared. So the total area is going to be the 35 add the 24. If you do 35 add 24, you get yourself 59 centimeters squared. So the volume is going to be 59 multiplied by 20. Okay. So 59 multiplied by 20 will give you 1180 centimeters cubed. So we'd have 1180 centimeters cubed. Okay, next one. Now this looks very like a previous one, but read the question carefully. It says the prism is made from metal. The density is 6.6 grams per centimeter cube. Calculate the mass. Now you remember there was a formula I told you should remember inside a triangle, and it was that density is mass over volume. Okay, so what we can do first of all is work out the volume of this shape. So the first thing we'd want to do is we work out the area of the face and multiply it by 15. So the area, we'll call it A. The area is going to be base times height divided by 2. So 5 multiplied by 12 divided by 2. Now 5 multiplied by 12 is 60, and half of 60 is 30 centimeters squared. So that's the area. So the volume would be the 30 multiplied by 15, which would equal 450 centimeters cubed. Okay, so that's the volume. If we had remembered that density is mass over volume, if we want to work out the mass, we put our finger over the mass and it's density multiplied by volume. So the mass is going to be density multiplied by volume. The density is 6.6 grams per centimeter cube, so 6.6. We multiply it by our volume that we worked out, 450, and we get the calculator. 6.6 multiplied by 450 is 2970. So 2970, and the unit we've been using is grams. So because it's mass, it's in grams, so we write grams. And we're done. The last one, so pause the video, see if you can have a go at this one. Okay, so it says Jenny fills some empty flower pots completely with compost. Each flower pot is the shape of a cylinder as follows, and she has a 15-litre bag of compost. She fills up each flower pot completely. How many bags she fill up? The first thing you'd want to do is you'd want to work out the volume of this. Now the key thing is you need to know that a litre is equal to 1,000 centimetres cubed. So in particular, 15 litres in the question must be 15,000 centimeters cubed. So what you want to do is work out the volume of this shape and do 15,000 divided by that, and it would tell us how many flower pots we can fill up completely. Okay, it asks us for the ones that are filled up completely. So to work out the volume of this, what you're going to do is you're going to work out the area of the circle at the top and multiply it by 15. So if we call that A, to get the area of a circle is pi multiplied by r squared. So it's going to be pi multiplied by 6 squared, which the calculator says is 36 pi. We leave it like that for now because we're going to use that in the calculation. So the volume, therefore, the volume is going to be 36 pi, that area, multiplied by 15. And if we type that in a calculator, it gives us 36 pi, and we multiply that by 15, we get 540 pi, 540 pi centimeters cubed, that would be. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the 15,000 divided by 540 pi. So we're going to do 15, 1, 2, 3, divided by, or over 540 pi, like that, and we get 8.8. So 8.8. It asks us how many flower pots we fill up completely. Well, it's 8.8, so we have filled up 8 completely. So 8 pots is the final answer. And that's every question that's come up on volume and all the practice you're going to need to smash those questions in the exam. Thanks for watching.